At my son's wedding, my sister stood up during vows. I object. He's not right for her. 200 guests froze. My son kept going. Afterward, I calmly told my sister, the $145,000 I loaned you for your house. It's time to pay it back. She laughed. You can't do that. I showed her the signed contract. When the formal notice arrived, my son was halfway through his vows when my sister stood up and said loud enough for 200 people to hear, I object. He's not right for her. For a second, the whole room froze. Forks paused in midair. Someone's champagne flute clinked and then went dead quiet. Ethan didn't stop. He didn't even look at her. He kept his eyes on Harper like she was the only person in the building. My sister Dana stayed standing. Chin up, arms crossed like this was her moment. The officiant blinked, then cleared his throat. Ma'am. Ethan kept going anyway. His voice didn't shake. Harper, he said, you make me feel safe. You make me want to be better. You make home feel like a real place. I felt my hands go cold around my water glass. I could hear my own heartbeat. I could also hear Dana's breath, irritated, like she couldn't believe the world wasn't pausing for her. When the vows ended, the room exhaled. A few people laughed nervously. Someone tried to clap like it was all a joke. Dana sat back down like nothing happened. At the reception, she drifted toward me near the bar, smiling like we were just two siblings at a family cookout. So, she said, leaning in, I'm sure you saw that coming. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I said calmly, the $145,000 I loaned you for your house. It's time to start paying it back. Dana laughed. Not a chuckle, a full laugh. You can't do that, she said. Not now. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just reached into my jacket, pulled out a folded copy of the signed contract, and set it on the cocktail table between us. Her smile slipped. She stared at the paper like it was suddenly written in a language she didn't recognize. And when the official letter arrived a few weeks later, she acted like I'd set a fire instead of drawing a line. To understand how he got there, you have to go back. It didn't happen in one day. It built up quietly for years. I'm Owen, 46, police detective in a mid-sized city outside Columbus, Ohio. I've been on the job long enough to know two things can be true at the same time. People can love you and still take from you if you let them. I make good money. Not private jet money, but steady, reliable grown man money. Base salary over time when cases run long. A little extra from teaching a weekend defensive tactics class at the academy twice a month. I'm the guy who pays his mortgage on the first, changes the oil before the light comes on, and keeps a folder on my laptop labeled important documents because it calms my brain. My wife Claire passed away 8 years ago. Cancer, fast, unfair, the kind that doesn't care how responsible you are. Ethan was 19 then. I was still trying to be a husband and a father, and a person who didn't fall apart in the middle of a grocery store aisle. Dana is my younger sister. She's 43. She's charming in the way some people are charming when they want something. Bright smile, big hugs, the kind of laugh that makes strangers feel like they've known her forever. She talks fast and gets emotional faster. She's also had more fresh starts than anyone I've ever met. In 2018, she got divorced. In 2019, she started a small event planning business. In 2020, she moved in with our mom temporarily. In 2021, she announced she was finally getting stable. That was the year she wanted to buy a house. It started with a phone call on a Tuesday night. I remember because I was in my kitchen in sweatpants, eating leftover spaghetti, paperwork spread out on the table. Owen, she said, voice trembling. I found a place. It's perfect. It's in a good school district for Mason. It's close to Mom. It's everything. Mason is her son, my nephew, 10 at the time. Sweet kid, quiet. The kind of kid who always says thank you without being reminded. I asked the question I always ask, the one people hate. What do the numbers look like? She sighed like I was being negative. I can afford the monthly payment, she said quickly. It's just the down payment. I'm short. How short? A pause. Then she said $145,000. I actually stopped chewing. Dana, I said, that's not short. That's a full down payment. It's because the market is crazy, she rushed. It's because I'm trying to do this right. I don't want to rent forever. You know how hard it's been. I didn't know how hard it had been. I'd watched her scramble. I'd watched her cry in our mom's driveway. I'd watched Mason carry his backpack into different temporary places like he was older than he should be. But I also knew something else. Dana never asked for help in a way that was clean. It was always urgent, always emotional, always framed like if you said no, you were the reason her life didn't work. I told her I'd think about it. An hour later, my mom called. "Owen," she said, soft and tired. "Your sister is trying. She's really trying. Mom has that talent. The gentle pressure that feels like love, even when it's a push." "I'm not saying no," I said. "I'm saying I need to understand what I'm agreeing to. It's family," Mom said. Like that was the whole contract. I didn't agree that night. I told Dana I'd meet her and the lender. I wanted paperwork. I wanted terms. I wanted it written down. Dana showed up to the meeting in a beige cardigan and big hopeful eyes. The loan officer slid a stack of forms across the table like we were ordering coffee. Dana kept saying things like, "I'm so grateful and I don't know what I'd do without you." While she tapped her nail against the numbers, I asked, "What's your monthly payment?" $2,900, she said. "But that includes escrow and your income." Dana smiled too wide. "I'm picking up more clients." I looked at the loan officer. He avoided my eyes. That was my first real red flag, not the numbers. The way people got quiet when I asked basic questions. When we left, Dana linked her arm through mine in the parking lot. "I knew you'd come through," she said. I didn't correct her. Not then. I went home and opened a fresh document on my laptop. Loan agreement. Dana 2021. I wrote it like I'd write a report. Clear, specific, no drama. Principal $145,000. Interest 3% annual. Term 60 months. First payment due 30 days after closing. Monthly payment $2.65. Late fee after 10 days, $75. Payments via bank transfer only. If more than 90 days past due, lender may demand full balance. I printed it, 2 copies, took it to a local UPS store where they had a notary. Dana met me there, annoyed that it was so formal. She signed anyway. The closing happened in August 2021. I wired the money from my savings account. It hurt, not because I didn't have it, but because it was a chunk of the life Claire and I built, the life I was still trying to protect for Ethan and myself. Dana hugged me outside the title office. "I'll pay you back," she promised into my shoulder. I swear on Mason. I believed her, not because she was perfect, because I wanted to. The first month, she paid a clean transfer memo line, payment 1. The second month, she paid late with a text. "Sorry, client delayed paying me." Sending tomorrow, she sent. It 3 days later. By month 4, the pattern was set. Can I send half now, half next week? Mason needs braces. My car needed a repair. The holidays are expensive. Work is slow. Meanwhile, I'd see photos online. New sectional couch. New self-care weekend in Nashville. Dana in a wide brim hat. Captioned, "Needed this." I'd stare at my phone and feel something shift. Not anger, something colder, something tired. Every time I brought up the agreement, she'd get emotional. "Why are you treating me like a criminal?" she'd say. "I'm your sister. I thought you wanted me to succeed." I was working homicide cases, missing sleep, sitting in interrogation rooms with people who lied as easily as breathing. Then I'd go home and argue with my sister about why she couldn't send the amount she'd agreed to send. It wasn't just the money. It was the way she acted like my limits were personal attacks. Over the next couple years, the small things stacked up. She'd borrow Mom's car and return it on empty. She'd forget to buy groceries for Mason when he stayed at Mom's. She'd ask me to cover his field trip fee because it's only $80. Once in March 2023, she texted me at 11:47 p.m. emergency. Need $1,900. Heat went out. Mason is freezing. I called her. She didn't pick up. I called the next morning. No answer. At lunch, I got a photo. Dana is smiling in a restaurant booth. Bottomless mimosas. Caption, "Girls' Day. I drove to her house after work, parked across the street, and watched the lights. The heat was on. I could see the glow through the blinds. No emergency. I didn't confront her that night. I went home and sat at my kitchen table and opened my spreadsheet. Loan balance. I started logging every payment, every missed payment, every excuse, dates, screenshot of texts, bank statements as PDFs. I didn't do it to hurt her. I did it because I could feel myself getting pulled into something messy, and I needed something solid to hold on to. In October 2024, I met Harper for the first time. Ethan brought her to Sunday dinner. She showed up with a small pumpkin bread loaf from a local bakery and said, "Mr. Hayes, I know Ethan talks about you a lot." She had steady eyes, warm but not naive, the kind of person who listens all the way through your sentence. Dana met her the next month at Mom's Thanksgiving. Dana smiled at Harper and said, "So, you're the one stealing my brother's attention now." It was said like a joke. It landed like a test. Harper laughed politely. Ethan's jaw tightened. I saw it because I know my son's tells the way I know my own. After dinner, when Harper was helping Mom clear plates, Dana leaned close to me and whispered, "She's cute. Hope she's not controlling." I said, "She's good to him." Dana shrugged. "Just saying. Sometimes people aren't who they seem." That was Dana's style. Plant a seed. Walk away smiling. When Ethan proposed in June 2025, he called me first. "Dad," he said, voice nervous. I asked her, and she said, "Yes." I remember the way my throat tightened, the way my eyes stung. I didn't even try to hide it. "I'm proud of you," I said. "Tell her, welcome to the family." Dana found out an hour later through Mom's group chat. She didn't say, "Congratulations." She texted Ethan privately. "Are you sure? It's fast. You haven't even lived together long enough to know." Ethan showed me, not dramatically, just quietly. Over coffee one morning. "She's doing it again," he said. I said, "You don't have to carry that alone." He nodded, but I could see how much it bothered him. Ethan's always been the type to hold things in his chest until they get heavy. And the closer the wedding got, the more Dana pushed. She called Harper sweetie in that sharp way. She asked Ethan if he'd signed a prenup to protect himself. She told Mom that Harper was pulling Ethan away. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, Dana missed another payment. Again, I texted her a simple message. Payment was due on the 1st. Today is the 15th. Please send it by Friday. She replied with a laughing emoji, then corrected herself. "Oh, and stop. I'm literally drowning. Can we talk after the wedding? Don't make this about money right now." I stared at that text for a long time. Don't make this about money. As if the money had made itself. As if my patience was an inconvenience. I didn't answer. I just saved the screenshot and closed my phone. The turning point wasn't the missed payment. It wasn't even the comments. It was a moment so small it would sound ridiculous if I said it out loud. It happened the night before the rehearsal dinner. We were at Mom's house. Dana was there fluttering around like she was the event coordinator. Ethan and Harper had stepped out to pick up a last-minute seating chart from the printer. Mom was in the kitchen fussing with aluminum trays. I was in the living room helping Mason set up his tablet. He'd been playing a math game, tongue sticking out in concentration. Dana walked in, saw us, and said, Uncle Owen playing hero again." I didn't look up. I just said he's a good kid. Dana leaned against the doorway and sighed dramatically. "You know," she said, "if Ethan marries her, everything changes." I finally looked at her. Ethan's an adult. He's happy. Dana's eyes narrowed slightly. "Happy now?" I said, "Dana, enough." She smiled like I'd proven something. "I'm just trying to protect him." Then she added, casual as breathing, "I mean, it's not like he owes you. You owe him, if anything." After what happened with Claire, the room went very still. My stomach dropped. Not because I didn't understand what she meant, but because she said it like it was a fact, like my wife dying had made me permanently indebted to everyone else's feelings. My voice came out low. "Don't use Claire's name like that." Dana held up her hands. Okay, relax. I'm saying you're emotional about Ethan. You'll do anything for him. And Harper is taking advantage of that." I looked at Mason. still focused on his game, unaware of the grown-up garbage floating above his head. Something in me cooled. The kind of calm I get right before I knock on a door with a warrant. The calm that isn't peace. It's decision. I didn't argue. I didn't lecture. I just said, I'm going to step outside. On Mom's porch, I opened my notes app. My hands didn't shake. That's what scared me most. I felt clean and clear. I wrote loan agreement. Locate original signed copy. Payment history. Print full record. Certified demand letter. Attorney. Do not discuss during wedding weekend unless necessary. Separate relationship boundary from financial boundary. Keep it factual. The next morning before the rehearsal dinner, I went to my home office and opened my file cabinet. I have one drawer labeled family. It's not sentimental, it's practical. Inside in a manila folder was the original contract with Dana's signature and the notary stamp dated August 12, 2021. I scanned it again anyway. Saved it as loan agreement _Dini _executed. PDF. Then I printed the spreadsheet. 5 pages of dates and amounts. Missed payments highlighted. Notes about her texts. A column labeled excuse. I didn't feel proud doing it. I felt like I was finally admitting the truth. I couldn't love someone into respecting me. I called a local attorney I'd worked with on a fraud case years ago. Not a friend, but a professional I trusted. His name was Martin Lasco. He answered on the second ring. Owen Hayes, he said, it's been a while. I need a demand letter. I told him personal loan signed agreement. Borrower is behind. He didn't ask for gossip. He asked for details. How much? $114,500. Principal current balance $1.98, $740 in change based on payments she actually made. Any proof? I have the contract, the payment records, and text confirmations. Send everything, he said. I'll draft it. I emailed him the PDFs, contract, spreadsheet, bank statements. Screenshot of Dana's text where she admitted missing payments and promised to catch up. Then I sat there staring at the sent email and felt something unexpected. Relief. Not because I wanted Dana to struggle, because I was tired of being the place she stored her consequences. The wedding weekend arrived like a storm you see coming but can't stop. At the rehearsal dinner, Dana played perfect aunt. She hugged Harper. She laughed loud. She toasted Ethan with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I watched my son. He stayed polite, but he kept a little distance like he'd learned where the sharp edges were. That night, Ethan and I stood outside the restaurant after everyone left. The parking lot lights buzz. Summer air, heavy and warm. He said, I know she's going to do something. I didn't deny it. I said, if she does, you keep your focus on Harper. You don't need to fight your wedding day. Ethan looked at me. What about you? I took a slow breath. I'm not going to create a scene, but I'm also not going to pretend anymore. He nodded once. Okay. The next day, before the ceremony, I checked my phone. Martin had emailed me the draft demand letter. Formal, clear. 30 days to cure the default. If not, he'd file in civil court. I read it twice. Then I saved it, didn't send it yet, and put my phone away. I wasn't there to punish anyone. I was there to watch my son get married. But I knew something now. No matter what Dana did, I was done absorbing it. The ceremony was outdoors, under a white wooden arch covered in greenery. Harper walked down the aisle with her father. Ethan's face changed when he saw her, like he'd been holding his breath for years, and finally let it go. I stood in the front row, hands clasped, trying to stay present. The officiant began. Simple words, love, commitment. The kind of thing people roll their eyes at until it's your kid standing there. Then the vows started. Ethan took Harper's hands. He said, I promise to choose you even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Harper smiled through tears. And then Dana stood. I object, she said sharp and clear. He's not right for her. The world paused. Harper's eyes widened. Ethan blinked, once like his brain refused to accept what it heard. The officiant stammered, Ma'am, this isn't. Dana kept going louder. He's making a mistake. Everyone knows it. I'm the only one brave enough to say it. Someone behind me whispered, "Oh my God." I felt my body move before my mind finished deciding. I turned to my seat just enough to look at Dana. "Dana," I said, not loud but firm. "Sit down." Dana's head snapped toward me. "No, someone has to protect her." Harper's father took a step forward, confused and furious at the same time. Ethan lifted his chin. He didn't raise his voice. He said, "Dana, stop." Dana looked at him like he was a child refusing medicine. "I'm doing this for you," she insisted. "You don't see what she's doing." Harper's voice came out quiet. "What am I doing?" Dana pointed at her like she'd been waiting for the question. "You're pulling him away from his family," Dana said. "You're isolating him. You're making him think he doesn't need us." Ethan's hands tightened around Harper's. He said, "She's not doing anything. I'm choosing my life." Dana laughed bitter. "Listen to you. This is exactly what I mean." The officiant looked helpless. And then, in the middle of all that, Ethan turned back to Harper and said, "I'm sorry." Harper whispered, "I'm here." Ethan nodded. Then he faced her fully. He continued his vows. He didn't wait for Dana's permission. He didn't negotiate with her feelings. He just kept going steady, like he'd stepped into his own spine. The guest slowly followed his lead. The tension didn't disappear, but it stopped controlling the moment. Dana stood there another 5 seconds, then sat down hard, red-faced, like she'd been robbed. The ceremony finished. Applause came out a little delayed, but it came. At the reception, Dana tried to rewrite history in real time. She floated from table to table saying, "I just got emotional, and I love Ethan so much. And you know how family is." I watched Harper. She was smiling, but her eyes were tired. Ethan stayed close to her, a hand always on her back like he was anchoring her in the room. I didn't confront Dana on the dance floor. I didn't do it during dinner. I waited until the moment presented itself naturally. It happened near the bar when Dana approached me with a glass of champagne and that familiar bright smile. "So," she said, leaning in, "I'm sure you saw that coming." I looked at her. I could still hear my son's vows. I could still see Harper's face when Dana stood up. I said, "The $145,000 I loaned you for your house. It's time to pay it back." Dana's smile widened like she thought I was joking. Then she laughed. "You can't do that." She said, "Not now." "Are you serious?" "On Ethan's wedding day." "I'm serious," I said. "And it's not about today. It's about the agreement you signed." Dana's eyes hardened. "You're punishing me because I told the truth." "I'm not punishing you," I said. "I'm enforcing what you agreed to." She leaned closer, voice low and urgent. "Oh, and stop. People will hear." I kept my voice even. "Then don't make it loud." Dana stared at me like she couldn't find the switch that used to work. "You always do this," she hissed. "You always act like you're better than everyone, like you're some judge." I didn't flinch. "I'm not judging you. I'm telling you the loan is past due." Dana shook her head, disbelief turning into anger. "You can't come after me. I'm a single mom." I nodded once. "That's why we put it in writing, so it wouldn't turn into feelings." She scoffed. "Feelings? You're the one being emotional." I reached into my suit jacket. I'd brought the contract for a reason, not as a weapon, but as an anchor. Something real in a room full of performance. I unfolded the copy and placed it on the cocktail table between us. Dana's eyes dropped to the page. Her signature stared back at her. The notary stamp, the date. For a second, she went quiet. Then she lifted her gaze and said, "You wouldn't actually do anything." I said, "I already spoke to an attorney." Dana's face changed. Not hurt, not sadness, calculation. "You're serious." "Serious?" she said. "Yes," I replied. She picked up the paper like it might burn her, skimmed it, then snapped her head up. "This says late fees," she said, voice rising. "This says court. It says what we agreed to," I said. Dana's eyes darted around, checking who was close enough to hear. A few guests at the bar had gone quiet. She leaned in and whispered, "If you do this, you're going to ruin Mom. You're going to break this family." I didn't take the bait. I didn't say you broke it first. I didn't say you embarrassed my son. I said, "Dana, I'm not debating. You'll get a formal letter." You'll have time to respond. That's it. Dana's jaw trembled. You're doing this because you're mad. I met her eyes. I'm doing this because I'm done pretending your choices don't have consequences. Dana set the paper down like it was suddenly heavy. And then she did what she always did when the facts didn't bend. She tried to turn the room into a jury. She stepped back, raised her voice just enough, and said, "Can you believe this? He's threatening me at his son's wedding." A few people looked over, some looked away. Harper's maid of honor froze with her drink halfway to her mouth. I kept my voice calm, steady. "I'm not threatening you. I'm following the agreement you signed." Dana snapped. "You're heartless." I didn't argue. I didn't defend my character in front of strangers. I simply said, "I'm going back to my son," and I walked away. Behind me, I heard Dana's breath hitch like she was about to cry or scream or both. I didn't turn around. 2 days after the wedding, Ethan and Harper left for a short Vermont honeymoon and sent me a photo from a cabin porch. Ethan texted, "Love you, Dad. Thank you for staying steady." I forwarded Martin the final numbers, and the demand letter went out by certified mail on August 8th, 2025. Dana called within an hour. I didn't pick up. The voicemails came fast. "This is insane. You're doing this to Mason. Mom is crying." Mom called too, saying Dana was scared. I kept my voice gentle. "I'm asking her to honor what she signed. Family shouldn't require me to ignore reality." Dana tried to negotiate through relatives, but I repeated one line. It was private and being handled formally. In September, her attorney sent a proposal to lower payments and stretch the term. Martin told me she wasn't denying the debt, just delaying. So we settled in writing. Automatic withdrawals on the 5th, and if she missed 2, the full balance came due. The first 2 payments were on time. The third was late, but came. At Thanksgiving, Ethan hosted, Harper made chili. The house felt lighter, and Dana stayed away. Later, I realized my phone stopped buzzing with fake emergencies. I still love my sister, but I stopped confusing love with unlimited.